Hello, everybody. This is another episode of UncleCode Review. We're gonna go to different students, and we're gonna go through their codes and review what they've done, and maybe I have some comments to improve their code. And code review always is important in any software company, especially senior programmers. They look at junior coders and give them comments and hints. So it's one way of improving the code quality and learning a lot of new things. Okay, hello, we in Mason. How are you?
Hello.
Hello, it's good to be
Good.
back. Hi, Uncle
Yeah.
Sam.
Perfect, perfect. So let us start from our kid. Arvina, let us know who is our student today.
All right, so our next student is Muhammad Aariz.
Aariz.
12 years old and he
Oh,
joined Kidocode last year, 2021.
perfect. Aariz, 12 years old, new students. That's really great. And it's interesting. The code choose here. It's not a drawing or graphical code. It's a mathematical code, and I like to talk about it. So rarely we see, that's kind of I like to have more code like that. That's really great. So Aris, I'm happy that I'm going to review your code because it's a kind of mathematical concept behind of it. And it's nice. It's one of the reasons that I say Python is a laboratory for mathematics. So let us start and look at Aris code.
Yes.
Okay, great. So we are here. This code doesn't have anything on or poor turtle. We'll just let him to go and rest a little bit. So hey, you can go, Tom. So and
This
then
is Charles. Here is
Charles, the
Charles.
name is Charles. So Charles, you can just rest for a while. And then we do have now some numbers here at the bottom. So you should look at the numbers in the bottom. I run the code, so you're gonna get some numbers: 3, 6, 9. So what is happening here? Let's go to the first line. There's a kind of array or list of numbers from 1 to 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Their natural number from 1 to 10, but excluding 10. And then this code tried to examine this criteria that which one of these numbers it's actually a multiplier of number 3 or it's divisible by 3. So which definitely 3 is one of them. And the other one is a 6. 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 3 is 9, or 9 divided by 3 is 0. The remainder is 0. It's divisible. You can divide it. And that's what this code does. And then how this happening, of course, is a for loop. For loops always is the best way to go through lists of numbers, the traverse within a list of numbers, and anything that you can iterate. And then when you go in, so for any I in the data, so I can be 1, then I'm going to be 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So it's very important you remember that when you use for over a list, it follows list order. It follows always. It's not jump from here to here in a natural way, unless you do some sort of different way. But then it's checking that if that number that we are picking out from the list, modulo operator, this operator divide I by 3, then returns back the remainder. And there is a nice Boolean comparison, checking that if this amount of this is it equal by 0, it's 0, print it. So the I printed, and you can see the output. So how many times this makes sense within this number? Only for 3 and 6 and 9, because the rest of numbers they do not. So I want to do some sort of a little bit of improvement in the code and also write in different way as well. First of all, I can go for range function 110. So I'm going to get the same thing. To be clear. So it does the same thing. And maybe I can also bring this here because we're not using this data anywhere else. So maybe we can directly go through it. And then and you know what in Python, Aariz, when you are working in Boolean concepts, means true, false, true, false, true, false. In Python, 0 always means false. And not in Python, in many of the programming languages, 0 has when you value 0 as a Boolean variable, as a Boolean value, not as an integer, you consider it false. So, and here is a place we like to look at it as a Boolean variable. So we're going to do that. If I modulo 3 if not this. So this led us to play around a little bit with the criteria, because if not this, or if means if it's zero means false, not false means true. So you have to practice your mind by such a kind of complexities a little bit to not get confused. What means not false? Where in my life I use not false? That's the best way to use it. So when you're gonna play around with it, it's logic. Okay, you're gonna get 369. Logic is very important. Logic is a framework of connecting proof and the steps together to come up with a mathematical valuation for your idea. And logic is a skeleton. So here I can do it in this way and I can print it. So that's one way to think about it. No, that's just. But anyway, there's nothing wrong about you write I modulo 3 equal by 0. It's very good. I like that one. It's very explicit. But if you want to make it a little bit more logical in the form of logic, it's just the way it works. For example, when I is 5 modulo 3 is 2, and 2 is false, is true, because when you look at the number from Boolean perspective, whatever is not 0 is true. So not true means false. So if clause, which is the print, never ever gonna get executed. So that's a very interesting thing that you routed here. So I want to get into details a little bit. So now what else we can do here? There's another way to do that. I can just simply do some cheating, like a range. For example, let's say I want to go from 3 to 10 by 3. Look at what is happening here. You see what I'm getting here? So let me comment the whole code. So in one line, I just do what you did in multiple lines. 369, I just did it. So in just one line of code. What is happening here? So range function produce a range of numbers from 3 to 10, but there's a third parameter, we call it a step. It says step by step, 3 by 3. So the first is 3, the next is 3 plus 3, 6. And then 3 plus 3, 6 plus 3, 9. So in result, you're gonna get 369. And the nice thing about it is, okay, I can make it 100. So I can produce a lot of 3 multipliers. So that's again another way to do that. But this is the main concept. So this is true, this is right. And
that was actually a practice for the if. Yeah.
Exactly, this is a practice for the if, and you did very well. And I'm just showing you another way of thinking about these numbers and the structures. Cool. There are also other ways to do that, but that's enough. Perfect. Very good.
Perfect.
I like coding, especially for me when you utilize Python for excelling and improving your mathematical skills. It's always a thumbs up. And
I think the first application of computers were on the mathematic things. Then start to go for other fields, like, oh, let's go for weather forecasting. Let's go for thing. But the first and the most important one has always been mathematics.
True. And you look at why we call this machine, we call it computer, a machine that compute. So it's started with this purpose in the mind to do that. Well done. Very good, Aariz. We're going to tell you something very important.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Yes, it's very interesting. I have a call. They asked me to tell something to Aariz. Yeah, I'm just going to tell you. We changed your mind because they asked me to say this. So Aariz, I just got a call from a mystery call person that asked me to tell you something very important, Aariz, that you are programmer.